Chip, if you would give your name, title, and where you work, and then a little bit of your bio, and that's what we'll start with.
Okay. Well, I'm Chip Gould. I am the president and CEO of Cason Companies Incorporated, a regional company in western North Carolina. We do business in probably about 20 counties. We have a petroleum business, a landscape supply business, building material business, hardware business, and a trucking business. So we do a little bit of everything. And in addition to that, I do a lot of nonprofit work. I am currently the chairman of the Economic Investment Fund in Henderson County. I'm on the board of Partnership for Economic Development. I'm on the Pardee Hospital Board, and I am currently the chairman of Blue Ridge Community College. So,
Quite a list. Well, would you talk a little bit about why you believe leadership is important, why it matters in leading an organization?
leadership, to me, is different than management, and I think we'll talk about that in a little while. But leadership is stability, it's confidence, it's trustworthiness, it's traits that are different than just day in and day out. Show up and then do your job. And I think it's important because all people in all organizations need a leader that they can look up to, that they can follow, that they can have the confidence in, that allows them to do their job, but to know that they're going down a path that they're going to be successful with and they're not wasting their time.
Mm-hmm. And leadership being different from management, you mentioned that. Would you talk a little bit about how you see that?
Management, if you look at a factory situation, but this would apply to all businesses or walks of life, but if you have down on the main floor, you've got the production facility, and your job today, or the plant's job today, is crank out 50,000 tires for vehicles, and you're going to do that job. You're going to crank out 50,000 tires and make sure that system works and it's efficient. If you go to the second floor of a manufacturing plant, I think that's where you're going to find the leadership. They're thinking about, well, how can I make 75 to 100 tires a day, or what kind of tires are going to be in the cars of the future, or where do we need to position this company for the ever-changing environment? And so leaders have that role, where management is, again, get the job done and finish the task of the day, and tomorrow's the same day, and make sure you get the task of the day done.
Do you have some examples of successful leaders from your experience?
I think in my experience, being a leader, if I would, and I classify myself as a leader, not a manager. The difference in my life is, being a leader, it's easy to assemble a group of people to work on a task together because they do have that confidence in you. You have a track record of getting things done or being a visionary or whatever it may be. And so, again, pick a nonprofit board. When we get together with a group of local business people, if there's a good leader in that place, then everybody's ready to get to the table and everybody's ready to do their job or do what they can do to serve, because they're focused on a mission. If it was just a kind of a management thing, then I don't think you would get, people wouldn't show up to say, well, I've been to the meeting and I put my hour and a half in and now I'm ready to go back to my other job. Mm-hmm. With the leadership role, it's been easy for me to have a lot of people that kind of follow and work with me to get a particular job done. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
It does. You talked earlier about, you started to mention some of the traits that you see leaders exhibit. Can you talk a little bit about some of those traits?
Leaders are good communicators. They're visionaries. They're long-term thinkers, not short-term thinkers, and they have the ability to take tasks and get them done. If we all sit around the table and say, well, this is what needs to be done. We need to paint the building blue today, and everybody agrees with that. Well, I think a leader would step up and say, okay, well, I'll get that done. I'll find the person that will do that. Where everybody else may just say, yeah, that's a good idea, and things may not get done. But with somebody that has a leadership role or has leadership capabilities, they will take the task at hand or take it as a challenge and see that it gets done.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that's often attributed to leaders is the ability to be a visionary, to also incorporate innovation into an organization. Talk a little bit about that from your experience.
Well, I don't know. I call myself a leader, but I may be half crazy sometimes. Our particular business, we have 15 acres of land here. We have trucks. We have forklifts. We have locations in other areas of Western North Carolina. So I constantly think, what can I do with those trucks? What can I do with my facility? What can I do in this area to service customers, but again, bring on new products that won't require me to go build another building and hire a whole new staff of people. We had an opportunity with our hardware business. Lewis Williams is a 28-year-old, or not 28-year-old, it started in 1928. And when the recession hit, they were hit hard. They were a contractor, supplier primarily. They were located downtown, next to Lowe's, and competition was tough. And so I had an opportunity to talk with them, and I thought, well, we can move to another location. I have contractor customers. It's got to be a one-stop shop, so we moved that business out to here. And now, again, contractor comes in and needs my materials, but he can go a block next door and then pick up what Lewis Williams may supply. So again, that's a pretty good example of, I guess, trying to be a visionary or being a visionary.
And how about innovation? Innovating what is existing within the organization and moving forward from that standpoint. Can you talk a little bit about that?
On the innovation side, again, we look at how we can do things differently. Today, we have a very hard time finding commercial truck drivers. And there's just a huge demand for it. It's like farming or some of the other businesses that have been around forever, but the younger generation doesn't want to be a truck driver or doesn't want to work in the farming industry. So what we're doing on a small scale is we're buying trucks that are lesser weight than traditionally what you had. They're automatic transmissions, and I literally can hire 18 and 19-year-olds without a commercial driver's license to make deliveries, to work through the current issue that we have at the moment. We are also trying through our computer technology. Again, we're a builder supply business, so it's if you want to buy brick for your house, we can't sell brick on the internet. I mean, you can't pick it out, and I guess you could, but you probably wouldn't be happy when it showed up at your house. So, but we're trying to figure out ways to do some YouTube videos, to do some web presence, to make our products available, but also show what's available here and how you need to come out and really take a look at it and put your hands on it. Same thing, I guess, with like buying a car. You want to touch it, you want to feel it, and you want to drive it around the block.
You mentioned the staff that you have here. Would you speak to developing the organization, putting an organization together to go after the vision that you described, and some of the challenges and some of the issues that you might face there?
Well, I constantly tell younger people today that if you would take a look at the environment around you, the majority of people that are running the business or in charge or signing the paychecks are like me. They've got gray hair and they're a bunch of old guys. And so when you see this group of old guys, realize that these are opportunities. Every business is looking for new people to come into their business, new blood, new mindsets to continue to take these companies forward, because again, we're all running up at our end of our work life here, and most of us probably should have retired about 10 years ago, but we can't find the people to do it. But again, I wouldn't look at, and I'll pick on myself, but don't look at me as some gray-haired old guy that's been around that it is not relevant anymore. Look at me as, that guy isn't going to be around very long. He probably wants to retire. Maybe I ought to go take over his company, or maybe I ought to look for a future in his company. Because I do think that the young people today certainly want to be in management and leadership roles, and they want to grow rapidly in those positions. So they need to seek them out, because they're certainly out there.
And within organizations, there's a lot of talk, and we certainly teach a lot at the college about team building and teams working together.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that as far as it relates to your experiences?
The team building, again, it's a necessary thing in the business world. It's very hard today, though, I'll be honest with you, to get in the team building mode, and at least it has been for me, because again, we don't have the talent that wants to get involved in business, and they don't want to be long-term players. So you can't have a team. Just think if you were a baseball team or whatever, and every year all your top stars got traded. It's hard to build unity and build a team that way. So again, it's important, it's necessary. Everybody would love to get into it. It's just hard because of the amount of turnover everybody's experiencing in the workforce. We need long-term players to get vested in some of these businesses, and then I think all these other aspects could come to fruition.
A little bit ago, you mentioned integrity is one of the important traits for a leader. Kind of makes me think of the ethics part of running an organization.
Right.
Can you speak a little bit about ethics, and then along with that, diversity, which is a new challenge for a lot of business leaders today?
Well, ethics is just to me, it's the golden rule. If you can't run your operation or run your life in an ethical fashion, then you're going nowhere. Even more so today than in the past, because with the media and everybody walking around with a cell phone, if you want to be unethical, in about 30 seconds it's going to be all over the world. I always tell people that I pride myself in the fact that I can walk down the street, or I can be in any environment, and I do not have to worry about anybody coming up and saying, well, you know what, you gave me a bad deal, or you charged me too much, or you didn't do what you said you were going to do. Those are just basic business functions that you need to do. And again, focus on expanding your business, growing your profits, all those things. It's much easier. We talk about all these people that want to hack into the computer system and all that, and I'm sure you've heard it 100 times. If they put that much effort into making $1, they'd be millionaires. And hacking into somebody's computer system, I don't know that does anything but other than give you a thrill. But focus that talent in that direction. On the diversity side, again, we're in a very diverse area in Western North Carolina, and we have in our business from the Hispanic side of the world, probably 50% of the people that come in my business today are Hispanic. And they're either working for someone or they have their own businesses, but my customer base is again 50%, and consequently I have been able to employ Hispanic people. I mean, there's 3 or 4 Hispanic speaking people here, and the customers absolutely love it. They absolutely love the ability to come in if they have some questions and they can't quite communicate it in Spanish, for example. Someone here can do that for them, and the Hispanic people gravitate toward the Hispanic salespeople, just by nature, and we all would. I mean, we would do the same thing if we could speak a foreign language and somebody spoke English, we'd go to the English speaking person. But it's very necessary in my business to have that. And then and females as well. I mean, I'm 50-50 between female and male. My males are truck drivers and mechanics, and my females are salespeople and office administration people and all that. But it takes all that to make this company work.
And if you would, the importance of communicating, because if you've got as much as you have going on and the diversity of the workforce, talk a little bit about how important communication is as your role as a leader of the organization.
Well, it's extremely important. Again, we are ever changing. You know, we started, we were a block and a brick business on the builder supply. We probably had 15 products. Other than the color of the brick, brick's a brick and a block's a block, and sand is sand and cement. But now there's just a multitude of products out there that are similar, anywhere from do-it-yourself products to the same products that you need to have a craftsman install. It's a constant need around here for us to communicate the changes in our products, the changes in our systems to account for how we write tickets up, how we make deliveries, and our truck drivers and people making deliveries. We've got to constantly communicate with them changes. You get halfway between here and Asheville and the traffic jam, and the customer says, well, I just don't want it today, I got to have it tomorrow. Well, you better communicate or he'll be headed to the job and deliver the materials, and then you're going to turn around and go back and pick them up. And then just on our overall culture and happenings in the business, because we have 6 different offices and 6 different little businesses, it's very important that we let everybody know about each other's business and who's doing what. You may come in again as we have what we call a home run. If you hit a run, as a salesperson, you've sold them something in the petroleum, something in the hardware, something in the builder supply, and something in the mulch division. But they all have separate accounts. But again, communication is important to let know that Ben he has an account with Case and Builder Supply, but he also has an account with all these others and take care of them.
Okay.
Yep.
It's often said one of the important jobs of a leader is also motivating the organization. Speak a little bit about that from your experience.
But again, that's another. It's an easy thing to do, but it's a difficult thing to do in today's time. Again, because we are short-staffed. Everybody's short-staffed, and trying to have enough people here just to do the job doesn't allow you a lot of time to spend with employees to help them on some of the other skill sets that they may need. We do constantly pat our people on the back, recognize them when they have done a great deed. When we get customer feedback or customer comments, we let everybody in the company know that, hey, that so-and-so did a great job and we got complimented on this or that. And again, with the younger generation, they need to be motivated more than old guys like me. I got up and I went to work for however many years, and my paycheck was my motivation. If I got a paycheck at the end of the week and the check was good, I was a happy camper, and we went on down the road. Now that's not enough. We have to constantly praise and recognize and reward people for the job they're doing, and again, it's just an important part of the world today, and a necessary task that you have to do in business.
Another important task as a leader and then as a smart organization is making good decisions, just decision making in general. Would you talk a little bit about that as the leader and then as an organization?
Well, again, in today's world, and it's moving so fast, and the innovations in technology are coming at you faster than you can really respond to it, and it's expensive. If you don't do the research and spend the time to make sure that whether it's buying new products or it's buying equipment or it's updating your computer system, then it gets quite expensive, and you cannot afford to make those mistakes anymore. Everybody has a lot of competition, and it's even from the college. Just take the college for example. You have to come out and offer the right programs, and you have to have the right people teaching those programs, and you have to motivate and attract those students to come here. If you don't, they can go right down and take a right and go to AB Tech instead of taking a left and go to Blue Ridge. So if we don't make the right decisions, then it definitely be costly, and when we don't have enough students, or I don't have enough customers, and we lose revenue. But at the same time, you have to make those decisions, and you have to make changes, and it's a little bit risky sometimes. You can't just sit on the sideline and say, well, I'm not going to do this because I don't know if it'll work or it won't work. But I can tell you, day in and day out, we probably have 12 people coming in every day that can do our website, 12 people that can do our advertising, 12 people that have brand new products that are better than everything else we have. And if we don't do the research, then obviously we're going to buy a bunch of stuff and not do very well and tie up a bunch of money.
Planning is an important part of your job. You want to talk a little bit about how you view that and approach that as a leader?
Well, typically we sit down kind of toward the end of the year before the next year, and we talk about what happened in this past 11 months or whatever the frame may be. And again, I have to bring together 5 different businesses to talk about, because each business will have its own plan, yet together we all work to achieve those plans, and we kind of feed off each other for business. For example, if we get a new contractor that wants to build houses, then we immediately flip them over to Lewis Williams, who sells power tools, and say, you need to call on this guy, and somebody else needs to call on this guy. So planning is primarily looking at what we did this past year, realizing what kind of expenses and kind of needs we're going to have this year to cover the bills and make the ends meet, and then decide how are we going to generate the sales and the revenue to cover that, and then how are we, and more importantly, how are we going to monitor it? I mean, we can come up with a plan, but if we throw it on the shelf and then don't look at it periodically, then I think there's an old saying that it says if you plan to or fail to plan, you can plan to fail, and I think that holds true.
From you personally, talk about time management, setting priorities, and then being an effective executive, really being effective in how you use your time. I've heard you say how much time everything demands of you.
I have this conversation with my wife about 3 times a week. It's, you know, you're going to work at Cason today, or you're going to work at Blue Ridge today, or you're going to work here or there. But and one of the reasons that I'm so active in some of these other nonprofits, well, a couple of reasons. Number one, it's a learning experience for me because the education system is different than when I'm doing business. The hospital system is different than the education system in my business. I also I didn't mention I'm on a bank board as well, and a bank financial scenario is different than what my business is. So it becomes a learning experience for me. It's also business opportunities as I am out in the county and out in these areas to learn what's going on or what's new or what's coming to town or those kind of things. And I feel like I have a little heads up on that. And number 3, I've done my job for 40-something years, and it's a break. I mean, it's a change. So, but with the technology today, as you all know, I mean, we're all using it. You can sit in a boardroom and you can participate in that, and you can send a text to somebody else, and you know you can keep things rolling while you're doing other things. I guess it's multitasking, and so because I've done the things I've done for so long, I know through experience that this is what I can expect today, or this is probably what's going to happen tomorrow, and I can take care of those things. The other thing that happens that has to happen if you're going to have the schedule that I have, you have to be able to have good people that you can delegate things to. You know, I cannot make every decision every day, and don't expect to. And if I have to make it just every one of them, then I don't need the staff that I have. I can get rid of them and pay myself a lot more. But you know, having good people and people that know that they can make certain decisions without any problem, and other things require maybe a little time out or some more communication is vital in the time management.
Okay. Increasingly, we're hearing, particularly from the education side, people are studying leadership and starting to classify different styles of leaders and different models of leadership. Has that been meaningful to you from your experience? Have you found any particular style or model to be helpful, or the need to change one style from situation to a different style to a different situation?
I think, in my own personal opinion, again, because I'm in a diverse kind of group of situations here between these nonprofits, and they're all different, and my business, a good leader or someone with good leadership skills can adapt to what needs to be done in that particular situation. Sometimes, you know, you may have a scenario where nobody's going to make a decision, so if you step up and make a decision, you're going to be the hero, all right? Then there's other times when you may have 15 leaders in the room, and somebody's got to figure out, well, wait a minute, we only need one driving the ship here, and the rest of us can grab the oars. So what's the important thing that we have to accomplish here? And you know, you may be passive in some situations, and you may be aggressive in others, but being flexible enough to adapt to those situations, but also at the same time don't lose focus in the fact that you're sitting in a room, you've been chosen to do this particular task or be part of this team because somebody thinks you're potential leadership or have leadership, and so you need to use it.
Mm-hmm. We often hear in sports analogies how important the mindset of the athlete is, and now they're starting to talk more about the mindset of an entrepreneur, the mindset of a leader. Would you tell us a little bit about how you view the importance of mindset, and if there is a particular way you frame that for yourself, as well as how you try to balance all the things that you have with what's on your plate and the things that are demanded of you between mindset and balance? Can you talk a little bit about that from the person?
Well, obviously I've been an entrepreneur. Either that or I've been in the wrong place at the wrong time to acquire the businesses that we have. I mean, we have not started anything from scratch. We've always acquired another business and folded it into what we have. And I spend a lot of time knowing my competition, know what they do, know what their strengths are, know what their weaknesses are, and when opportunities come along for us to expand, or we find that we've maxed out what we do in this area, we need to look at something else, then by knowing my competition, I know, yes, we can go in that area, or they're very strong and we need to go there. We need to look somewhere else. To me, it's very easy to put deals together or to find businesses that need a little help, or somebody's ready to retire and they're ready to get out of business and they're looking for a way out. The difficult part is how will that fold into our company? How will we manage that acquisition? Are we going to discipline ourselves enough to make that part of it and continue to grow it versus just buy it and say, here we have it and we hope it works out. To me, it's just been an acquired strength that I've had, just because I've done it so many times, and I've been fortunate to make a lot of the right decisions and not the wrong decisions.
How about that balance of work and personal life and having a healthy mix of that in your week?
Well, I'm probably for your students, they won't like to answer, but and I have a daughter who currently works for Red Hat in Charlotte, which is a huge software company that just got bought out by IBM, and has a great job, and she has a ton of, I don't know what IBM is, her company was 9,000 employees, but their business style and this work-life balance and all the things that they're into don't equate to the old school me, because again, I'm the guy that felt like and still feels like my reward is that paycheck every week, or one of these days when I retire and I sell this business, I cash in and that's going to be my reward. I think as an entrepreneur and a leader, or someone that's in a leadership role, it's very hard to say, I'm going to start work at 8:01 and I'm going to leave at 4:59. And Friday night, I'm done and I'm Xing off the business till Monday morning. Because I think why leaders are successful, and that's not to say other people can't be successful, but why they're probably more successful is because it's not an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday job. It's constantly looking, as I said earlier about my competition. I may take off Saturday afternoon and say, you know what, we're going to go ride around the country and countryside and enjoy the afternoon, eat out. But while I'm riding around, I'm checking on my competition to see who has what or who has what products there. So I'm kind of always working, and I don't know that that would fit the work-life balance scenario, but that's what I do, and again, it's proven to be successful. And again, I think when life goes on 24 hours a day, and business goes on 24 hours a day, and if you're not, somehow thinking about that, 7 days a week, then I think that's why people decide in 5 years that they don't like their job anymore, because nothing's changed, or it's an 8 to 5, and they didn't put that little extra into it. Again, that's a white-haired old guy scenario. So.
I appreciate it. Last topic. Talk, if you will, about developing your personnel and how you view or possibly approach succession planning in your organization.
Well, and we're right in the throes of that right now. I currently have my son that works with me. He's been in the business for a few years. As I mentioned earlier, I think every business in every walk of life needs younger people to get involved that want to be long-term players in that particular business. It's if you've got the right people and you've got long-term visioned employees, then succession planning and all that's very, very easy to do. If you don't have the talent, in other words, if I hire you today and I don't have the feeling in 2 years you're going to be with me, then it's going to be hard for me to put you in the succession process, knowing that in 2 years I'm going to have to change that again. I want to build a team of long-term dedicated employees. That doesn't mean you have to be here a lifetime, but in order to get into the succession plan and be part of the growth of the company, then you have to show that you've got some longevity and the ability that you want to work there for a while and work your way up. And working 6 months and then expecting to be a senior manager or senior VP isn't going to happen. I can tell you that, unless you're extremely brilliant or your parents own the company. It just doesn't work that way. And in any walk of life.
Chip, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate what you do and what you've done for us here and sharing it all. And I just can't tell you how much we appreciate this. This is great stuff.
Well, it's. I like what I do. I've been, like I said, I've been blessed in this county. This county's been good to me. I've had great opportunities and been in the right place at the right time to capitalize on it. And at the same time, I also know that we, being my generation, have to spend the time to help give back and hopefully create leaders and entrepreneurs of the future, because we're going to need them. That's all there is to it. We're going to need them.
And we appreciate you as one of the people who plays a role on that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very
All right.
much.
Appreciate all you do.
This is great stuff.
Thanks so much.
This is great.
Sure, appreciate it.
Don't show anybody else. Everybody else does. You can't believe you said that. My daughter is she's in the millennial capital, and so we have these great discussions about their, and I just heard today on the radio, adult recess. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I saw it. I didn't see it.
Yeah. Now, she works for Red Hat, and she's doing very well, and she's moving up in the county. She was pregnant with her second daughter.